Now we're going to make some creamed onions. The creamed onions are also a two-step process. The first thing you got to do is cook the onions till they're nice and tender. While they're cooking, you make a cream sauce. After the onions are cooked, you get the cream sauce. It's merely a matter of blending them. So here we go. We're going to chop up the onions. I always get rid of the outer rim. Chop them up in big chunks. These onions happen to be sweet onions from Peru. Potatoes would do fine for this, obviously. Okay. Now, one of the tricks for making these creamed onions is you bring them to a boil and let them boil for about 10 minutes. Then you pour off that water because any of the strong flavor from the onions goes off with that first boiling. And what is left is just a pure sweet onion. So we now bring this to a boil, and while we're doing that, we're going to make the cream sauce. Guessing with it, you know. I don't have a recipe, but I'm just trying to make a judgment. Taking a look at the onions, about when they boil down, they'll be about half that size. And then I think that then I sort of have to guess as I go along about how much, but I make a better cream sauce, and I think for that amount of onions, maybe that amount of butter. You want to have a good thick cream sauce. We're getting there. You can start to smell the onion smell. A few bubbles are coming out. Gotta keep an eye on that. You hear the bubble?
Oh yeah.
Starting to bubble. I said you're gonna let it boil vigorously for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Then pour off that water. And pour on new water. And pouring off that first water gets any kind of the strongness of an onion. Mm-hmm. So what's left is just the sweetness. That's what we're looking for. Sounds like we're doing it now.
It does. I hear them boiling there.
Yeah.
Close to it.
Boiling going. Okay. Now we get back to the cream sauce, which, as I said before, is a kind of a standard cream sauce. You want it fairly thick because the onions are kind of juicy. They're now these things are boiling, see? Now
Oh yeah, really boiling.
I'll turn it down now. I put a little half and half in here. That kind of enriches the cream sauce. I may not have enough cream sauce. I'll probably have to make a little more than this. Make sure that this, whatever additional flour you add to it, you just can't pour that into the bowl. You can't, because you can't get that blended, so you gotta make sure that is well blended before you add it. As I say, you kind of do this by hit and by miss. You'll always want to put a little salt in your cream sauce or it'll be flat. Now this you want to just really shake up really good. Make sure the extra flour and milk that you put in there is really well blended or you'll have lumpy sauce. And you don't want lumpy sauce.
No.
Make sure you're stirring your cream sauce as you go along. Otherwise it'll thicken on the bottom and get lumpy. It's starting to thicken now.
Oh yeah.
Now I think that's about the right amount of cream sauce for that amount of onions. When this comes to a boil, that's as thick as it's going to get. And it's just now starting to do that. Yep. See, it's starting to boil there.
Yeah.
So that's as thick as it's going to get. It'll get a little bit thicker when you let it sit. The next thing to do is to check the flavor. I think you'll probably need more salt. It's pretty close. Now we add the sugar. I'd say about a tablespoon. Careful, the water's hot. If you come over, you can smell that what we poured off has got a kind of oniony smell to it.
Oh yeah, I can smell it.
Smell it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I always use cold water instead of hot water when I'm doing my cooking. Okay, now we bring them back to the boil and let them boil until they're good and tender. They shouldn't be too long. Gotta wash the spoon and
That's how it's supposed to be done.
I think that's really right about there. I think we got a nice smooth cream sauce lumps.
Oh yeah. Look at that. That didn't take long.
It shouldn't have to boil too long. I think those are about as tender as we're going to get. Usually takes a little longer than that. Those are good sweet onions from Peru. Okay, now we pour off the water. Drain the onions really good. So now we add the cream sauce. Now, we cook those maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, so the cream sauce and the onions blend. A little the extra sauce there. That should make a batch of good creamed onions. Yeah, put this on low so it just simmers. That gets the onion flavor into the cream sauce, you see. Or the cream sauce into the onion flavor. And you also want to stir this while it's steaming because you don't want it to burn on the bottom.
Okay.
Get it as close to it. Yeah, it's just starting to simmer. We're going to simmer it maybe 10 minutes or so. See it simmering?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A little bit.
When you want to serve it, you can do one of two things. You can put it in a pot, heat it up, or you can put it in a casserole dish and put it in the oven. Either way. One way to judge the how many it'll feed is to kind of look at the size of your onion. As you saw, these things will boil down. Remember, this was a whole pot full to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So take a look at an onion. If it's a big one like we had, that would maybe be 2, 3 people, 4 people at the most. One of those big ones. This would say this would feed a dozen people, thereabouts. I think a dozen people.
It smells fantastic.
I'm not supposed to take a picture of that.
Oh, why not?